So this is for help with 3, 3, and we're going to write it down. So if you guys, we're just going to do 2. So it's not like I don't give long notes at all. We generally, so go ahead, Mason, and write number 1. Go ahead and write this down. And as you guys know, I always pick ones that are similar to test questions, right? Have I been right about that? Right? So it's really important to watch these. This is 3, 3A. Is what most of them have been calling it, and I believe that Mrs. Peterson's took notes on it today in a Google Meet. Mitchner's is on it today. And did you have class yet today? Were your notes on this, where she was shading? Yes, perfect. So I'll go work on our individual assignments after I go through one, but I also want to do one like tomorrow's. All right, so I can cover both. It's super similar. All right, so for these, when you see these inequalities, like I said in the last section, that's when you know you're going to be shading, all right? So we're going to be shading on our paper, right? So last chapter, you did graph these, but you only did like 1. You didn't do 2 at a time, but it's basically last chapter, just a twofer, right? So this guy's a line. This guy's a line. Which one's going to be solid, the top one or the bottom one? Top, because of this bar right here. So I'm going to have a solid line, so I'm going to write solid. This one I'm going to have a dotted line because there's no equality. This is all last chapter, so then last chapter went well for most of you, so shouldn't be a huge issue. The top one is all set and ready to graph because it's in that slope-intercept form, right guys? So when I go graph it, I know that when this is mx plus b, right? And the b is where I hit this y-axis. So let's go take a look. I know that I can plot 4 on the y-axis. Like up here, and I go bam. So one problem, really slow in review. Ria, what is the slope of that? I'm looking for my handprint so I can get my highlighter. You guys see it? Go ahead and tell me, what's the slope of that line? Okay. Yep, the top one. The top line, what is its slope? It's in the form y equals mx plus b. What's its slope? Perfect. So -1. That should pop up what I need it to, hopefully. All right, so -1. Yep, there's the handprint I want. So she's going to go, the slope is -1, Mason, right? So I plotted 4 on the y-axis because that's what this number means. I'll put a dot there. And now with my slope equaling -1, because it's y equals mx plus b, right? What does that mean I'll do with my pencil? Do you know, Mason? That the slope's -1.
That means you'll go down 1 and then over 1.
Perfect. I'll do it a couple times maybe, right? And I'm going to do that one in red, and that's solid. So I'm just going to head like this. And then I'm going to go shade. Above it or below it, Connor? Below, because it says less than, right? So I'm going to go grab my shading. And I know I'm going slow, but I'm only doing 2, so you'll get most of the time to work. So, and usually the homework goes faster once you totally understand it. So here is what you did on the last test. These were on there. Right, Ria? And it's the same thing. Nothing's changed, except now you have to just put another one on the same grid. Okay? So now I go to this line right here, which I'll do in blue. This guy, this one, Mason's not in slope-intercept form. Right? So you have 2 options. Your teacher should have said either get the x and the y intercepts when x is 0 and y is 0 and go plot those. That's nice when both the numbers go evenly into this. Like Connor, if this was a 6, I'd have at it. I'd say 0, 2. Is 3 times 2 is 6, right? And I'd say -2 times, I'd use those. But for this one with that 9 there, I don't want to do it that way. So I need to solve it so that it looks like this one, because Ria already knew how to graph that type, right? So I have to solve it for the y. So on this one, I'm going to go plus 2x, 3y, right? Not equals, but is greater than. How are we doing, Leah? And 2x plus 9. To solve this one for y, Leah, what will I do next? I've almost got it. Divide everything through by a 3. It'll kill that off. It'll give me my slope, and it'll give me my y-intercept. You with me? So now on this one, I'm going to go back up here. This is my y-intercept. It's 3, right? It's y equals mx plus b. So we're going to plot the 3 on the y-axis. So I'm going to go up here, go like that. Except I did it at 2, so that wasn't very smart. I'm going to go to 0, 3. And when I say plot 4, I mean on the y, it's the y-intercept. All right. Now with the slope of 2/3, Leah, right? What am I going to do with my pencil? From here. Yep, up 2 over 3. I already noted that it's a dotted line, so I'm going to go like this. And now I need to shade. Will I shade above it or below it? Above it. Why? Just in case. Because right here it says greater. So I'm going to grab a different color and I'm going to shade above the blue line. Where's my answer? What do you think? The green. Right. And we were doing them where your answer was where these intersected. That's if these said equals. Then your answer is a point. When it says greater than, it's a whole bunch of points that all meet both criteria. So I think on Delta Math, or in your class, Mr. Michener talked about listing 3 solutions or 4. So there's an infinite amount of points in here, but here's one of them. -3, 4 is definitely a solution. What it means is if you go put -3 in here and 4 in here, they're true. All right? So that's yesterday. No, that's today's for all of you. Tonight's for some of you. All right? Is going to be almost the same thing. What do you notice that's different? Almost exactly the same type of problem. What's the only difference, Leah? Let's call this number 2, and then when this one's done, I'm done. I'll go help you individually. I know you see them. Yes, those lines. It's the absolute value bars, right? So this is going to make a line. And we're already good at those, so let's go throw that line on there. Don't even have to mess with it. It's already solved for y. Right, Mason? But when it's y equals mx plus b, what am I going to plot?
B.
Yep, the 3. So that's where I always like to write in here. I'm going to plot the 3. Right? I've got a slope of 2, which is 2 over 1. So I just go up 2 over 1. So those of you on Delta Math, Mr. Michener's students, you just go put your cursor there. You just go up. I don't know how you shade on there. Have you had to shade on there before?
There's a button that says shade.
Yeah. So it's the same thing. It's just your graphs are a little faster than the ones you have to do it by hand. All right. Am I going to make a solid line or a dotted line? What do you think? What do you think? Dotted. So this is going to be a dotted line. Let's go do it. Bam, bam. Nothing new yet. Still last chapter. All right. Then, am I going to shade above it or below it, Mason?
Below it.
Below it, because it says less than, right? So I'm going to shade all these infinite amount of points below the line. There's a lot of them. So I'm just going to shade that in. On Delta Math, I guess he says you just click shade. All right. There it is. Now the next one, though, which I'll do in purple this time, I think. The next one is not a line. What did those make last chapter, Leah? What did these absolute value ones that Leah spotted on a graph, what will it make? Remember from last chapter? Doesn't make a line. Do you remember, Connor? Yeah, it makes one of those V's. Okay, so this is going to make, will it open this way, do you think? Or do you think it'll be upside down? You're nodding at which one. They can't hear you nod. Yeah, they're going, you can't see me in the video either. I had my wrists together opening up, and then I had my wrists together opening down. And I said, what's it going to make? And they knew it was that one. Do you know why, Mason? It's because this is positive. And it's a slope still. Means you're going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1 from the vertex. So it opens up. If it's negative in front, you know this. So here's what I know I'm going to have. I'll have a solid V because, again, of that. Remember from last chapter, to graph this guy, you need 1 point and 1 point alone. You need to figure out what that vertex is. Do you remember, Connor, how to figure? Because that's where I need to put my pencil. It's just like when Mason told me to plot the 3. Well, I need to have a point to plot, right? It has to be the vertex on this guy, so I know where to go. Do you remember what the vertex is? We talked about this controlling opening up or down, right? What's the vertex?
Wouldn't it be the 2 is for the x and the 1 is for the y?
So close. 2 is for the x and a negative 1. Yeah, we said whatever makes this 0 or the opposite of it, right? And then whatever's tacked on. Do you remember that, Mason? So I'm gonna, just in case, because I don't know how much I know what these guys know and don't know. But had that been an x plus 3 minus 2, my vertex at the opposite, or whatever makes it 0, negative 3, comma, negative 2. All right, so I'm gonna go plot that, just like on the last. So I'm gonna get this purple stuff out of here. I will go plot my vertex at 2 over 1 down. All right, before I make the V, I have to know how fat to make it. And that's where the slope comes in again. A slope of 2 still means up 2 over 1. So I'll go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, but then I do it symmetrically. So I go up 2, back 1, up 2, back 1. This is the intersection of the 2 just plain figures with the equal signs. I keep this going. Now I have to decide where to shade. For that V, do I shade above it or below it? Above it, because it says greater. So I'll grab a different color again, and I'm going to go above the V. And when it's changing colors like this, that's my answer. This yellow stuff is not. It's the intersection of the yellow and the blue. So it's a whole bunch of points. And I think one of your teachers asks you to list some solutions. Was that yours, I think? I don't know. And you could say 2, 2, or 2, 3, or 3, 5. Anything in that shaded region is a solution. We good? So I'm done. So that's 3, 3A was the first one. This is 3, 3B. I'm going to pause this. And I'm going to have you guys take